Good afternoon. It's a small edition of the Miz and the Midday. I wanted to come on and talk just sporadically. Do a little something I don't usually do. Report a couple of rumors, and remember, these are rumors. There's a lot of rumors flying around all of a sudden. And the Giants are in the mix of a few of them. Look, there's rumors out of Buffalo that they want to fire their head coach. My opinion, that would be a big mistake. You want to fire a head coach that has had success. He hasn't won you a Super Bowl. They might have fallen short. Look, the Buffalo Bills lost two monster players. All right? You lost Milano, one of the best linebackers in football and a monster leader on this Bills defense. And then you lost White, a veteran Pro Bowl cornerback. Okay, he's getting up there in age, but it's still a big loss in the midseason. And the Bills haven't been the same. And I think it happened when they made that flight out to London to play the Jaguars. So you lost two key players on defense. Although the defense is still playing well, they're pretty deep in the front seven. Those are two leaders on the defense, and to the team, a lot of people blame Allen for everything, man. You lose two pieces like that. That hurts. Look, you take away this head coach from the Bills, I believe the ship sinks, okay? You're taking a coach away who's connected to these players and the quarterback. I understand things haven't looked the same since Coach Dabo left. Still, things could be fixed. My opinion is you get rid of Diggs. Diggs has become cancer to this team. He's negative, he's unhappy, and he demands way too much. The man has failed to realize that the leader of his team is Josh Allen, not him. So although he's added to Josh Allen's career and made him a better quarterback, he's now making him a bad quarterback. The pressure, the non-stop complaining, the bitching. A man like this is a disease to the team. And when a guy gets like this and he gets negative and he no longer wants to be there, you get rid of him. So to me, to fix the Bills for next year, it's really not that far off. You get rid of Diggs, you draft yourself a young receiver, and you go get yourself a corner in free agency, and you draft yourself a corner. You get two more young corners on this team as White is getting old. And honestly, there's not a lot more the Bills really need to be right back to an 11-12 win team and a contender next year. And that's not to say that they don't turn it around this year. They're still in the mix. They have a monster game with the Jets this week. Whichever team wins will be alive going forward. The loser, I'd have to say the season's over. More so if the Jets lose than the Bills. Games in Buffalo, and I believe Buffalo's going to be looking for payback for that little pylon looking like you won a championship win at the end of week 1. So I would have to think the Bills haven't forgotten that. And that's what you do. I say you keep the coach. I'm a big believer in stability and long term. You don't get rid of a coach that has had your team in the playoffs every year. Okay? There are teams in this league that are dying for that consistency. And you add the pieces, you retool for next year, and you try to make the run. Like I said, go get a young corner or two and a wide receiver, and I would say goodbye to Diggs. You no longer need the negativity. It's affecting the team. It's a disease within. There are rumors that if they do let go of their coach, he might end up with the New York Giants as defensive coordinator. I don't know what his relationship with Dabo is. I know that they've worked together. And I could see that happening because time has run out on Wink. The blitzing the league is caught up to. I was never really a fan of this blitzing type of defense. I want to see the Giants get back to a 4-3 traditional defense. And I think we could do that for next year. I know the rumors are that the Giants are going to move on from Wink at the end of the year. It's pretty obvious they probably are. Say goodbye to Kafka also. Dable's going to have to go get some coordinators. There are some rumors in Western New York, coming out of Western New York radio, that the Bills would love to have Dable back as a head coach. And that they're willing to work out a deal for some picks, some assets, to get him back. Well, I got news for you. That's not going to happen. I don't think. But the thing is that there's a key player in all of this. Everybody knows that Belichick is leaving New England, and everybody knows that Belichick is one of the greatest ever. And no, he did not forget how to coach football. It's just that the marriage ended there and they weren't able to rebuild the team up there. And that happens. They've had a 20-year golden run that anybody would die for. 6 Super Bowl rings, him and Tom Brady. I'm sorry, some people want to say it's one guy, not the other. No, it's 2 of them together. And Belichick has had winners before that, as he's put up some championship defenses with the Giants. And whether you like it or not, he built that Ravens defense that started out as the Browns and then moved over to Baltimore, and he did not move over with them. Check it out. Belichick's available, and the New York Giants are one of the top teams on the radar. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, it is a fact. Mara is close to Belichick, and Belichick's always had a love for the New York Giants. It's where he started his career. And yeah, sounds like a storybook ending. He'd like to come back and end his career in New York with the Giants. Dude, I'll tell you guys the truth. I wouldn't push it off the table. It's definitely something that Mara and Tish behind closed doors are going to be having conversation about. Real conversation. Because you're talking about a big-time guy. He wants to be GM and head coach. You hand him the keys to a franchise that has been lost in the dark for a decade. Mara knows he's mingled, and he knows he has no understanding of how to fix it. I believe this regime, Dable and Joe Shane, are really good, and they can rebuild this, and I would keep them here for long term. But would you ask me if I would be angry if the Giants decided to go get Belichick and hand the entire keys over to him? No, I wouldn't. Because he's the great Bill Belichick, and he's nothing less than the great one. The GOAT. He is one of the GOATs of NFL history. And there's no disputing that unless you really hate the guy. I don't tell you Brady wasn't a monster part of it, obviously. So was he. So look, most likely if you ask me to bet on it, the Giants are going to keep the regime they have. Go out and get a new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator. And it all ties into this coming draft. Man, look. I'm going to pound this table again. And some of the old school guys may not agree with it. But I don't really care. I'm usually with the old school guys. So I'm parting away from that right now. Because I'm loyal to one thing. And that's the New York Football Giants and the blue jersey and the NY on the helmet. And we got to turn around and start winning games. Because this shit is embarrassing. I mean, we are a toilet bowl. And it's not something new. It didn't disappear because of one year last year where we played way over our heads. That turns out to not be reality. It was a pleasant surprise. And Dable did not forget how to coach. He's still one hell of a coach. And right here, what we're seeing is the injuries. It started with injuries. And it's led us into a tank. And right now, I believe the Giants are on a full tank. And I'll tell you the truth, for the first time in my life, I hope they are. Hard to sit there every Sunday and root for a loss, but we have to lose. We have to lose. The biggest win we could have is a loss every Sunday the rest of the way. And that's why I watch these games half-assed these last few weeks. For the first time in my life, you're emotionally not connected. There's no passion. You don't wake up early that morning with any fire for the game. You know you're garbage. And you know that the best thing that can happen to us is losses. Regardless of what the true old school person will say. And I'm old school. I'll tell you we have to lose because the Giants have to get a franchise quarterback in this draft. And I'm not waiting for the second round or the third round. I looked ahead to 2025 and the quarterback class is coming out in 25 is trash. So you will be in a long, deep hole if you don't walk away with one of these top 4. Now, I've fallen in love with Drake May. That doesn't mean that you can't love Khalib or JJ. I like Bo Nix a lot also. But the man that I view as the total package, the franchise king that can light a fire and turn this entire thing around, it's Drake May. And he fits the New York style that he can handle the pressure in the media and this hungry fan base that has no more patience. He looks like that guy. He's an alpha. He's smart. He fits the type that has won Super Bowls for us in the past, a la Phil Simms, a la Jeff Hostetler, a la Eli Manning. Jones hasn't won a Super Bowl, but he's in the boat of that type of character. And you know the Giants like guys that represent the organization with class and character, and this guy's the guy, May. Now, I don't care. Give me any one of them, but you have to get one. Love Daniel Jones. I've backed up Daniel Jones, and I still believe he will be here next year. But we got to grab the future quarterback right now, because there's no promising quarterback after this draft. Don't be stupid. Not drafting a quarterback in the top 3 or 4 picks in this draft, or maybe we'll be second. Dude, that's organizational malpractice. Jones, love the guy. He now has injuries. We're going into year 6 and we still don't know what it is. And to me that means unstable. To me that means not the guy going forward. Yes, we got to still build the O-line. But right now, your biggest piece that can flip an organization is a quarterback. And they're going to be sitting right there, stacked up at the top. The Giants are not passing up either. Joe Shane is scouting all these quarterbacks deeply. He's been doing it for over a month or 2. And the man I love is Drake May, and that's just personally who the Miz loves. Doesn't mean I don't like Khalib. Doesn't mean I don't like JJ. And I actually really like Bo Nix. I know McDaniels from LSU is high on some people's boards because they want to try to get him in the second round. I'm not playing that game this time. Enough is enough. The more you gamble, the more we be a loser. The longer we'll be a loser. You don't gamble here. You take the best right at the top. Number 2 pick. The best quarterback right there for you. You don't say, I'll take the receiver or a big tackle, and then we'll try to trade back up in the 20s and grab whatever quarterback's left over. You get the leftovers, don't ask why you suck for another 6 years. You don't take a leftover. You take the star, the stud, the franchise. Now's the time. We're bottoming out, and there'll never be another opportunity like this, and I don't ever want to be back in this spot again. We've been in the top of the draft way too long, and guess what? It's for fucking losers. I want this to be the end. The most bottom we've hit, the highest in the draft will be in a long time right here. And it all turns with the franchise. A brand new, young, passionate, fiery, healthy quarterback. So this Sunday when you're watching the game, you'll be watching from a very weird perspective. You want to see the team play okay, but you want to lose the game. And I don't even want it to be close at the end because that's too dangerous. And then next week, you're going to get one of the weirdest games we're ever going to encounter in our history. The Giants and the Patriots are going to play it in the 2023 Tank Bowl. Both teams are going to do everything they can, anything they can to lose this game. Both teams are eyeing the same quarterbacks. You lose that game. I don't care if it's 6-3. You lose that game. Do not screw this shit up. Because the Patriots are foaming at the mouth to lose that game and jump ahead of us so that they could take May. Because I know the Patriots are looking at the same quarterbacks we are. Even if Belichick's not going to be there. As for Belichick, we'll see what happens as the season goes on. You know he's moving on. It's time for him to move on. I still think he has 5 or 6 years left coaching. I still think he can build up a team, but it's better if he goes to a ready-made team, and that's why I think the best town and place for him with a ready-made team and has a big quarterback is the San Diego Chargers. Yes, to me, they're still the San Diego Chargers. And Belichick should go out there, take the keys, be the GM, the head coach, take his 2 sons with him. He's got Herbert. He's got Khalil Mack and Bosa at edges. They got a good team. Allen at wide receiver. That team got weapons. And I think Belichick can get back to a Super Bowl with that Chargers team in the next 2 years. He'll battle Kansas City. He's the right guy for it. The Giants will keep their regime and will build forward. But as I said, tank all the way to the draft and grab one of these top quarterbacks and do not fool around. And then you got 2 twos to do whatever you damn please, and I'd like one of them to be a big offensive lineman. And we have the money in free agency to go get a big wide receiver. And we all know T. Higgins is one of the names. Yo, the Giants are not as far off as their record and season shows it. It's a tank. If you add 1 or 2 pieces on the O-line, you go get a number 1 receiver, you keep Wandell and Hyatt, you get rid of all these sloppy others, you want to keep Slayton as a 4th, he's a 4th, and that's what he is. Say goodbye to Shepard. Say goodbye to McKinney, because I'm sorry, McKinney showed me this year he's not a true Giant and he's not all in. We've got linebackers, McFadden, okay, go get 1 more. And you need another defensive end. We're not far off from being a competitive team again. I'm talking about 9 wins next year. Is not far off at all. But we're not there right now. It all starts with one guy. Joe Shane and Dable, go get your franchise quarterback and reset this thing. Miz.